Anybody that rated Seth Rollins versus Bron Breakker higher than Iyo Sky versus Asuka is crazy in the head. I don't know what they were watching because this match was actually crisp and smooth with reversals, and that match was Seth Botchins at his worst. What's up, everybody? So last night was the WWE Backlash event, and I wanted to give my thoughts and prayers on last night's event for the WWE. Per usual, I'm going to be honest and unbiased as possible while I give my little grades for the event on either the fire scale or the garbage scale. It was an event that I think didn't really get good until towards the end, if I'm being quite honest. I think my first match here is going to be maybe an unpopular opinion, the Seth Rollins and Bron Breakker match, where I feel like, the people out there will do their little star system where somehow this match gets 4 stars, even though it turned into nothing but botches and clusterfucks. But it started great. You see, They had it right at the beginning. These two hate each other, so they should come out brawling with each other. They really don't like each other, and that's what they did. Of course, it takes a turn where Bron Breakker has the advantage because he is supposed to be this up-and-coming heel that is kind of unstoppable, so of course he would get an advantage, especially in a brawling-like match like this. Starts dominating Seth with submissions. Everything in the first half of this match was making sense. Anytime Seth would get some momentum, Breakker would do something to take Seth back down, and however, Breakker would not be able to put Rollins away. Then Bron started doing these Frankensteiners off the top rope, and I get it. It's a shout out to Scott Steiner and all of that, even though he won't go by Bron Steiner. He's Bron Breakker. But it wasn't a very crisp execution the first go round, and of course Rollins kicks out. Then they go outside the ring. They almost have a double count out after Bron was going to try and spear Seth on the outside after beating him down most of the match, but he gets super kicked. They both get back in the ring when the count gets to 9. Then, when Seth did actually start to get some real momentum in the match, Bron did do another reversal, but then Rollins tried a reversal of his own, and it was a big botch. And ever since that botch in the match, the match completely fell apart. And it's not necessarily because of the botch itself. It's because there was several botches by Seth Rollins for the rest of this match, but also it took the turn of this modern day shit where you gotta kick out of everything, and it totally lacks logic. Seth hit a buckle bomb after the botch, but Breakker kind of just popped up into a clothesline, which is like, whatever. We can do that once or twice in a match. But I felt like they did shit like this the entire match, where Seth would hit a big move, but Breakker would immediately hit another. And it's the selling that I think hurt this event overall. There was a lack of selling throughout the match. How is an audience supposed to believe this when you're not even selling? When they're airing it on ESPN2 the first hour anyway, alongside other sports, and there's not a whole lot of selling going on. Later in the match, Bron went for another Frankensteiner off the top rope, and Seth was supposed to land on his feet. Did a very bad job of doing that. Then there was the part of the match when Breakker was going for a spear, and Rollins reversed it into a pedigree. That reversal looks like ass. All of Seth Rollins' reversals in this match looked like ass. So anybody rating this match high was high when they watched it. Devin probably loved this match because I know he in the comments was probably high. But I thought Rollins' reversals in this match completely looked like shit. Of course, the Vision comes out, but Rollins was ready for them with a chair, beating down Logan Paul and Austin Theory with the chair. But a spear eventually did put Rollins away after one too many kickouts for me. I mean, I'm not saying this match was terrible, especially because the first half was actually good. But I'm only putting it as a 1 on the fire scale because I think what should have been a brawl the whole way through, because these two are supposed to hate each other, they decided midway through we're going to try and turn it into a technical classic, but Rollins was botching every single reversal they were trying to do, and then they did the whole kick out nonsense, whatever. The next match was for the US Championship. Trick Williams versus Sami Zayn. Lil Yachty out there with Trick Williams. I've already talked about how I felt about the build to this match with the Gingerbread Man. I feel like this match should actually be Sami Zayn versus the Gingerbread Man rather than Trick Williams, since they were pushing the Gingerbread Man so hard the past 2 weeks, especially this last week on SmackDown with the funeral and all of that nonsense. So I feel like because that was the main story, this match didn't really come in with an easy story that you can tell during the match. So I feel like what they went to try and tell a story with this match was that Sami kept getting booed. He was getting frustrated, and he was trying quick pins, couldn't put Trick away. And then as the match kept going on, he kind of just embraced being a heel, backing Trick into a corner, not stopping when the ref wants him to. And then when the ref was checking on Trick, Lil Yachty hit Sami Zayn in the back with a kendo stick, which got a pop from the audience. Obviously, Trick Williams still over huge, despite supposed to be a heel, even though Sami Zayn is maybe becoming the heel. I don't know if they were going for a double turn in this match. I'm not completely sure that they pulled it off, although I don't know if they need to pull it off because Trick is already so popular with the crowd. If they continue to keep him cool and move on from the gingerbread stuff. Later in the match, Zayn attacked Yachty on the outside, hit him with the kendo stick. Don't really feel like Lil Yachty sold being hit with the kendo stick multiple times very much. That was another time during this event where selling was not taking place. Zayn was countering Trick on the outside, threw him into the steps, hit a DDT on the steps. Wasn't enough to put him away though, and then Zayn really embraced the heel by looking at Yachty on the outside when he was down, giving him a hell of a kick in the head, a complete lack of selling from the haluva kick, and then Zayn got back in and Trick avoided the hell of a kick on him, and Trick hit the trick shot for the win. I just feel like the Gingerbread Man was the story in this match, so they didn't really have a good actual story for this match. It was fine, but let's be honest, it was basic. I gave it a 1 on the fire scale. I think Trick is very much over, but I hope they move him on to something else besides this feud, and Sami Zayn can continue to go down the heel path because he's usually good at that. So then the free preview on ESPN2 ends and we start the pay-per-view, and it starts with Danhausen, who's supposed to have this mystery tag team partner, which to me is the WWE hyping up some sort of entertaining surprise or some sort of big surprise maybe. Instead, what do we get? Well, we get a little person coming out of a clone crate, a cloning machine. And yeah, they did kind of build up to this on SmackDown, but it was just so cartoonish. I've been spot on with what I've been saying about the SmackDown side of the WWE right now, seeming like it is the cartoonish mid-90s. They have already gone back to the mid-90s cartoonish bag with having their own Dink the Clown version for Danhausen here with a mini version, just like there used to be a mini Doink. The match itself between Danhausen and Minihausen versus Miz and Kit Wilson, it ended up having entertaining spots. I'm not going to take away from the entertainment. And my problem with the match is not necessarily the match itself, because Minihausen did fantastic. He has the moves. He's a luchador, so he was able to pull off moves. I loved Miz giving him his move, still trying to kick his leg out, even though he didn't actually have to do that. There was enough spots in this match that at least did make me chuckle. Kit holding up the mirror to Minihausen so that the curse would reverse onto him, which actually brought a gasp out of the crowd. When Minihausen was first introduced as the tag team partner, there was quite a groan from the crowd, and the crowd did quiet down at the beginning of this match because of that. But I'll say this, they got the crowd back by the end despite the nonsense. However, this match was too long for one. It was 12 minutes. It was just as long as the US Championship match. I think it would have worked better for me if it was shorter, and maybe we could have had another match on the card. And I get Danhausen makes great money for TKO in sales for his clothes and all of that. But this is a kind of match, if it's going to be a comedy match on a PLE, you should make it shorter so that maybe people that are actually being built up on the main roster can have a match on the main roster. I don't know why Triple H likes to keep these events to just 5 matches. But this match could have been shorter. Somebody else could have been getting over on this event too, having time to do so instead of Minihausen. But right now the WWE is giving more time to the likes of the Gingerbread Man and Minihausen than other wrestlers that need the time. So I had to mark this match on a negative just for that alone. Also, this is the big sell for your PLE that is on ESPN, and this is the kind of match that you're getting on a PLE from the WWE on ESPN, which has real sports at the same time. I don't know. It's just a weird look for the WWE. I do wonder if ESPN is enjoying the Danhausen stuff, although he's all over with Stephen A. Smith. So maybe they do. Anyway, I put it on a negative 2 on this scale here. Iyo Sky versus Asuka had a hard job to me because they had to follow that comedy act, and they kind of tried to do somewhat of a similar match that the first match attempted to do in the second half, with it kind of just being a technical classic with a lot of reversals. But clearly, if you watched both matches, the reversals in the Iyo Sky versus Asuka match were way smoother than Seth Botchin's in his match against Bron Breakker earlier in the night. Anybody that rated Seth Rollins versus Bron Breakker higher than Iyo Sky versus Asuka is crazy in the head. I don't know what they were watching, because this match was actually crisp and smooth with reversals, and that match was Seth Botchin's at his worst when it came to the reversals. I like this match a lot. I think that because of the reversals and some cool spots, some like creative spots when they're at the table and Iyo Sky uses the notebook to block being the green mist in her eyes from Asuka. It also had a good ending with Asuka applying an Asuka lock and Iyo Sky eventually turning that into a pin attempt, just going with the reversal match that they told. And then when Asuka hit a German suplex, Iyo Sky ended up hitting one of her own, went up top, hit the moonsault for the win, and won the match against Asuka. Another part of the match that I think told a good story was Asuka was always trying to cut Iyo Sky off when she would try to go to the sky for a move, which is smart because that's Iyo Sky's moveset. So I like the psychology there. I put this as a 3 on the fire scale. They got along after the match. They hugged and all of that. People speculating that Asuka could be leaving the WWE or retiring altogether because they hugged, or maybe just taking a long break for some reason. I don't know the reason. I don't love the hugging afterwards unless Asuka is leaving the WWE or retiring, because if she's not, once again, I do feel like they just totally wasted our time with this entire storyline. But the match was good. John Cena had his announcement next, which was just more TV time being taken away from having another match on this show, so I didn't love that. The ground-shaking announcement is that it's going to be some sort of night where NXTers go against main roster guys, and the fans will vote for the best. and the winner that gets a championship belt or something. It seems like it's all over the place. I don't love the concept, but I do kind of like that it's a little different because there's a fan vote and all of that. However, I feel like it's something to do so that Triple H can be lazy and have no storytelling and just be like, here's a night where we have young NXTers versus main roster guys. Either way, this John Cena announcement wasn't worth time on a PLE and gets a -2 on the garbage scale. The main event, Roman versus Jacob Fatu, was of course the match that I bought into coming into this event. It had the best build, and it had a built-in storyline. Because when I talk about Trick versus Sami Zayn not having a real built-in storyline to their match because it focused so hard on the gingerbread man, Reigns and Jacob Fatu, it focused heavily on Fatu wanting to prove himself, not only just for him, but to feed his family. But more importantly, it focused on the Tongan death grip. And that became a big point in this match where at the start of the match, Roman was trying to injure Jacob's hand after he started to realize that Fatu was getting right back up every time Roman was trying to do something, or Roman was just bouncing off of him. So having the Tongan death grip being a part of the story made the psychology in this match easier. They also went to the announce table later in the match, which I feel like they did a lot on this show, but Jacob got the Tongan death grip on the outside, power bombed Roman through the table. But when they got back into the ring, Roman was able to hit a spear, but Jacob kicked out. I did find it interesting that Roman was feeding off the fans in this match. Is this their way of keeping him a babyface? I don't know. However, Roman had to keep cheating, distracting the ref, gouging eyes, to really eventually win this match. This, of course, came after the fact that Fatu applied the Tongan death grip, which was kind of the moment the match was waiting for, because that's what this match was built on. But Reigns kept fighting, and Reigns did not go down for the 3 count with his arms. But later in the match, Reigns did do a blatant eye gouge that sent Fatu into the turnbuckle, and the referee got bumped during that too. Reigns hit 2 Superman punches, even though that still didn't put Jacob Fatu away, which was, that's what starts to piss me off eventually, when I feel like there's a little too many kickouts personally. But Reigns then hit another Superman punch and another spear for a 2 count, another kick out. Fatu went back to the Tongan death grip at the end. Roman Reigns pulled the turnbuckle pad off. Reigns sent Fatu into the steel, hit a spear. That gets him the win. But he needed eye gouges. He needed the turnbuckle off. He needed all these things to put Jacob away, which not only keeps Roman gray, but I think also keeps Jacob strong. So that was good. It was a solid main event. Gave it a 3 on the fire scale. Wasn't the most epic thing, but they told the story they were meant to tell. And then afterwards, Jacob Fatu attacks Roman, gets the Tongan death grip in the middle of the ring, gave the referee a pop-up Samoan drop, applied the Tongan death grip again until all the officials came out. Fatu left the ring, showing the fingers that he used to choke Roman out, telling the camera that I told him, and all of that. They keep Jacob strong here. This probably also writes Roman off for the month of June, because I don't think he has scheduled appearances. I gave this a 2 on the fire scale. There was too much negativity, though, to make this a super hit for me. The event itself gets a 1 on the fire scale from me, which to me is, it was not an event worth the money. It was not worth the $30 on ESPN Unlimited. And really, you get 1 hour free, so you got 3 matches on ESPN Unlimited, and one of them was the Danhausen nonsense. So WWE right now leaves a lot to be desired, even though there was 2 solid matches to end the show.